What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a WrestleMania 37 review. You can tell my voice, not long up. This is also a little bit of a channel update. For now, I'm going to stop doing proper, more structured reviews. I'm just going to come on and just talk through the card instead of, have a list, an itemized list of match, promo. Sort of flow through it. And they're not going to be as often as this. I'll probably talk about all the mini week shows from the review. So tomorrow night, maybe do one on Raw, maybe do one on SmackDown, the first Tuesday NXT, things like that. But for now, just with college and stuff, everything's a little bit much right now. So I'm going to stop doing reviews for a little bit. But if you do want weekly AEW review content, check out my mate Tom Talks Rubbish. He's very, very good. Very, just class reviews. So if you do still want reviews, check him out. I'll leave a link down below. But obviously, last night was WrestleMania. And fans were back in attendance. We had fans back at a wrestling show for the first time in over a year. It was really good to see. But it got off to a little bit of a rough start, didn't it? Obviously, there was a storm out in Tampa, which I don't understand why Raymond James, the stadium, being in Tampa, being, in fucking Hurricane Central and bad, tropical storm central. I don't understand why Raymond James doesn't have a retractable roof, and I understand they take a long time to get over and up, but should they be more sensible? Not just, for WrestleMania, but for the NFL and stuff. But I digress, that's a whole other thing. We finally got there to showtime, and there was like half an hour of delay with weather. So we got like Samoa Joe in a nice little poncho. They were, Michael Cole and him were, sort of saying, we'll be getting underway soon. But for now, here's this guy having an interview, and then there's this guy cutting a promo. Just, very clearly people going in off the cuff, but they didn't put anyone on a mic who couldn't handle it. So you had like Kevin Owens, you had the New Day, you had people like that, people who can definitely talk and get through it. So it was good. It felt, obviously they were stalling for time to get the show underway, but it was fine. They did what they had to do. So the card opened with the WWE title match, Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre, and this match actually, I'm seeing now, went 18 minutes, which I don't think it needed to go. I don't think anyone really thought it needed to go 18 minutes. I think just, two big men, just have them do a big men wrestle. I think 10 would have been the perfect amount of time, but I actually enjoyed this match. The finish was a wee bit weird. I think Drew was going for the Claymore, and then like MVP shouted his name, and then he looked at him, and then he looked back at Bobby and he went, "Wait a minute, I was trying to Claymore you," and then he Claymores him, but Bobby ducks under it, like he matrixes under it, and then he kind of slips, he just takes a back bump, it sort of goes down. So he sort of like goes down before taking the back bump to duck it, which I thought was quite cool. And then he gets Drew in the Hurt Lock, and then Drew passes out in the Hurt Lock. It was a really good match though. I think the pair of them are just so incredible at being big men wrestlers. And there's so much more than that. There's so much more than just your stereotypical big man, and they really showed off everything they can do, which is a lot. It was a really good match. Like I say, I think 18 minutes is a wee bit too much. Ideally, I would have liked 10, because I don't think it needed that much. But, it went longer than I didn't feel as long as the main event. I've just seen there, I've got Wikipedia up with the times. It went longer than the main event apparently. Main event, which we'll talk about. We'll definitely talk about. But no, I thought this was a fun match. It was a good first match to have back in front of crowd, because both of them have such crowd popping big movesets. And I'm happy that Bobby's reign's keeping going. It would have been nice to see Drew win a title in front of fans, because obviously we were robbed of that last year. But I just think, I think Bobby's on fire right now, and he's having the run of his career outside of TNA, and I think it's fair enough to keep it on him and just see what he can do with it. Then we had the tag team turmoil match, which was like a tag team gauntlet match. Nothing really of note. Wasn't great. Mandy Rose slipped and fell on her way to the ring because of all the rain. And Italian Tamina won, last eliminating the Riot Squad, who should have won because they're the only proper tag team there. Tamina looked good. Tamina actually looked good in this match, and I do a lot of Tamina slandering because I think she's a wee bit naff 90% of the time. But I worked out what it is. I think Tamina would be a star on the indies if she could be doing intergender matches. But sometimes I get a sense when I watch Tamina that she's like pulling her moves so she doesn't, like hurt someone, which is fair enough. But it sometimes comes at the expense of looking legit in the ring to me. Sometimes she'll like pull a move and it looks a bit naff. I just think if they just let Tamina like wrestle some intergender stuff, she'd be class. But she actually really impressed me in this match. It was the first Tamina match I've saw in WWE for a while. I've been like, oh, she's actually good at this. Because she is good, but she's a wee, But the finish was weird. I think Natalya had Rhea Ripley. She was going to go for the sharpshooter, and then decided to tag out to Tamina, who I think Tamina like super kicked her, tagged out, and then she was about to step through for the sharpshooter, and then she went tagged back out to Tamina, who came off with a splash, and then they won, and they're now wrestling Nia and Shayna tomorrow. Fucking women's tag team titles are a joke in that company, and I don't. You get so many talented teams like the Riot Squad. I mean, you broke up the Iconics to then put them both in tag teams for no reason, and they're now both out of those tag teams, and it stresses me out so much. And also, Billie Kay and Carmella were ridiculously entertaining. They started the match with Lana and Natalya and picked up that first pinfall, and I thought they were a lot of fun. Then we had Cesaro and Seth Rollins, and this was a lot of fun. Now, Cesaro, unfortunately, he didn't swing Seth 100 times. He got him like 30, not at once. I think he got him like 20 times once, and Michael Cole was saying 45 swings. But I was counting. Seth's head was like, at a hard cam when he started, and it was 20 full rotations. But because the crowd are fucking idiots every time Cesaro does a swing, no one waits to count until he actually did a full rotation. They're going 1 second. 2, so he swung him for like 45 seconds, but he actually swung him 20 times, and it was class. He also did like the airplane spin, but with no hands for ages. That was a lot of fun. Rollins did a frog splash, 360, like he got up on the top rope and then like jumped round and then got the whole way round for a frog splash. It looked amazing. Like the pair of them are they're two of the best. They are two of the best. There's no two ways about it. You can't tell me that Claudio Castagnoli and Kobe Lopez aren't two of the best professional wrestlers in the world. And when they're given the freedom to just go a bit nuts, obviously we're going to make something incredible. I think it was good to see that Vince gave them the freedom to go nuts because, famously Vince isn't very high on Cesaro. But he's very high on Seth Rollins. He trusts Seth Rollins with his life. So, hopefully now he sees the value in Big Dick Tony, who did pick up the win over Rollins in a really good match, and they both looked amazing, but like Cesaro specifically, this looks like it could be the thing that rockets him up the card in the World Wrestling Federation, and that can only be seen as a good thing. That has to happen. You just need it. Give me it. We then had the shortest match of the night, which I think was one of the most fun matches of the night. It only went 9 minutes 45, and that was AJ Styles and Omos versus the New Day. And this was a lot of fun. Started with AJ, and then the New Day kept working on him because they obviously didn't want to tie out to Omos. There was, I think at one point Kofi had him, and he knocked out Kofi. And then he was crawling across the ring, and Woods ran down around the ring instead of pulling Omos off, just slid in and got in his way again. There was one point as well where he was about to tag out, he just ran and Monty Brown pounced him out the ring. It was really, really good. And then the second that he tagged into Omos, my God, he is class. I love him. I absolutely love him. I think when they signed him a couple years ago, and he was doing all the stuff with Bivens on NXT house shows, I was really excited to see him finally wrestle. He was doing all those stuff with Bivens, with the cheesecake. If you remember that on Twitter, that was great. But I was really excited to see him wrestle because he's massive. He's I think 7'4". Let me fact check that. Sorry, he's 7'3". So still an absolute brute. And he just got in the ring, just started doing big man moves because that's all he needs to do. And you know, I saw some people on Twitter being like, "Oh, he wasn't moving that good. He wasn't doing big. He's 7'3". You don't need a man of that size to be, you know, hitting like doing like float over DDTs. No, he didn't even have backbreakers and suplexes and slams. AJ did like a phenomenal forearm where he jumped up, then stepped on his shoulders, and then went off for it, and almost covered Kofi with 1 foot, which on the one hand sucks that a former WWE champion's getting pinned on WrestleMania with 1 foot, but on the other hand, you've just made a new absolute monster, and the tag team division has been injected with some new life, and I really like that. And AJ Styles is now a Grand Slam champion, so that's pretty cool. That's now what, 5 years? It's just over 5 years since he's won the Grand Slam, and I was thinking about it. I went looking online to see who's got the quickest Grand Slam all time. I think it's Angle and Jericho did it within 2 years in the old format, and in the new format, it's Ambrose who did it in just a little over 4 years. But still, 5 years to a Grand Slam is, and he's done it in reverse. I noticed because he won the WWE title, then he won the US, then he won the Intercontinental, then he won a tag title. But yeah, really fun match. Almost looks great, and I like this for AJ right now. It's a good spot to have him in, and I think, you know, that this will really inject some new life into Raw, which it fucking desperately needs. Strowman and Shane McMahon was in the cage then. It was just, I wasn't really excited for this match. It was fun. I liked it, but I didn't care. I didn't give a shit. And the match, as far as I'm concerned, should have been like 20 seconds. Shane runs at him, Braun grabs him, he throws him at the cage, and the cage collapses, and Braun's like, "Oh no, I've lost the match, but I killed Shane." As Braun's coming in the ring, like he got jumped by Elias and Jackson Riker, and then Shane was like putting the boots to him and like working on his knee so he couldn't hit the running power slam. It was a whole thing. There was one, although Shane did get thrown off the top of the cage, that was a lot of fun. At one point, Shane was like outside the cage, and then Braun grabbed his hand as he was over it, so he couldn't get down. And then he got up on the top rope and just ripped the cage wall off the structure and pulled him in through the gap. That was a lot of fun. And then Braun won, and that was it. Like, it was a fun match. I enjoyed it, but I don't care. I didn't care. I don't care. It's just a bit of a fun car crash match. It was, you know, it wasn't the weak point of the night. That was the tag team turmoil, because the women's tag team titles are just a joke. Which sucks because there's so many talented women that they just throw into these. They're like, "You're a tag team now with no story." Like I said, didn't really care about the match. A bit nuts that Shane McMahon went 11 minutes with Braun Strowman in a cage, but you know, it is what it is. And that's the thing, I like Shane. As much as, you know, he is the best wrestler in the world and he sometimes gets a little bit overbearing, he's always good to lose when it means something, except that time when he beat Miz at WrestleMania. But he's always fun. I like him. He's 51 now and he's hitting coast to coast, so bless up, brother. Love him. Right, now, in the match before the main event, I was vindicated. Because from the second he showed up at the Royal Rumble and he hit that dive, I was like, Bad Bunny is class. And everyone was like, "Oh, who is he?" The fucking promo package before it, right, was all Bad Bunny. Monthly listeners, this many. World record on Spotify for streams in a year, this many. 2 Grammys, or like however many Grammys, 2 platinum records. He's been on SNL, he's done this, he's done this, he's done this, he's done this, he's done, and it just listed all the things that he's done. And it was so good to watch, because I've been saying for months, wrestling fans are like, "Oh, who is he? That's not real music." Well, he's fucking more relevant than your favourite shitty metal band, so suck that. Oh, it was so good to see this video package, where for months, all these people who have been going, Who's this? I don't know who that is, so he's clearly not famous. They're like, "Yeah, he is famous though, and you're just not cool because you're a wrestling fan." Wrestling fans need to accept they're not cool. That's just a fact. I accept it. I know that. I know that I'm a wrestling fan. I know that I'm out of touch with what is considered cool in popular culture. I listen to Bad Bunny and shit like that, but you know, I'm not claiming to be this bastion of good taste and what have you. And wrestling fans think they are, and because Limp Bizkit were cool, and they're like Limp Bizkit, their favourite band of all time. And like Limp Bizkit are sick, but like, you know, they're not a cool, relevant band now. But yeah, so they had this promo package, which just showed everything that Bad Bunny has done. And then he got in the ring, and he was amazing. With all sincerity, I mean this. Bad Bunny is one of the best celebrities we've ever had wrestle. Without a doubt. Oh, without a doubt, he's one of the best. And I've been saying this for so long. I was like, when he gets in that ring, he's going to be good. I've been saying that, like, whenever we finally get him to wrestle, he's going to be better than anyone expects. And even if he's not better than he expects, cool. He's a celebrity. He's a singer. He's a rapper. He's not meant to be a brilliant professional wrestler. He's here because it's his childhood dream that he wants to live out, and he's doing it. And he's been putting in the work. I think I read somewhere he's been going to the performance centre like 3 times a week, maybe 4, doing like all-day training sessions since before the Royal Rumble, with Adam Pearce overseeing it, who, as we all know, was a fucking phenomenal wrestler back in the day. He moved from Puerto Rico to Florida full-time so he could be at the performance centre all the time to train for his WrestleMania match. The man was committed, and he was amazing in the ring. He was so good. Like, obviously, I know that Miz and Morrison had a big hand in this, but I mean, he was great. He was hitting Falcon Arrow. He hit a Canadian Destroyer on John Morrison. It was one of my favourite celebrity matches ever. Went 15 minutes. I loved every second of it. And Bad Bunny and Damian Priest picked up the win. And all the people who are mad on Twitter, like, just you can keep crying. You can keep crying. It's funny. It's so funny because I was thinking, right? I've been saying that I thought he was going to be good. I've been saying that for a long time. And there's been people like, oh, he's not going to be... Here's the thing. If Bad Bunny sucked, I can take that L. I can take that. I can just go, you know what? Okay, he wasn't good. He got in the ring, but fair play to him. He loves wrestling. He wanted to do it. He's done it. He wasn't great, but you know what? He's only been training since January, so fair play to him. But the fact that he was good and so many people have been counting him out and saying they don't care and that he's going to be awful and it's going to be one of the worst things on WrestleMania, they're all so mad, and I love it. But anyway, I could talk about Bad Bunny forever, and I really could. But the main event was Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks in the match of the night. Oh my God, it was the match of the night. I think last night was a very good, entertaining WrestleMania, like a very good show of entertaining the fans, because it was, it's your first night back in front of the crowd. They put on like the big entertaining matches, and I think tomorrow will be a more work rate focused night with triple threat with Rhea and Asuka, with Riddle and Sheamus, with Sammy and Kevin. I think night 2 will be more focused on work rate than big dumb entertainment spectacle, which night 1 definitely was. It was the other way rather. But this match was absolutely incredible. Now, I'm seeing here they only got 17 minutes. It felt like they got like 25. It felt like they packed in so much, and every single second was absolutely incredible. These are 2 of the best women in wrestling, without a doubt. 2 of the best people within wrestling. I don't like give myself the women's wrestling qualifier because it's not a genre of wrestling in the way that hardcore wrestling is. But in a company like WWE where they don't do intergender stuff, you kind of need to, there's obviously the divisions and stuff. But I think they are 2 of the best women in professional wrestling ever. Definitely 2 of the best women in professional wrestling right now. And, it was just so good. It was so good, man. Bianca is just the best. She had a running shooting star at one point, and I was like, do it off the top rope, flex on Brock. There was one point when Sasha came out for like a suicide dive, and she caught her, and then she just like got her up into the gorilla press, walked up the steps, and threw her back into the ring. There was a bit before the match as well that like Michael Cole acknowledged that this is the first WrestleMania main event with 2 black performers, 2 black women now, and that's just amazing to see. Obviously, as a white man, I won't fully get how amazing that is, but to all the little girls around the planet and all the little black girls around the planet watching WWE, this is something amazing to see, definitely. It was amazing to see for me, and I'm a crusty white dude, so but the match was just amazing. They're 2 of the best, man. They really are. Just so many like good counters for each other's big moves. So many like inventive, like obviously the using Bianca's hair against her has been done by everyone, but Sasha was doing it in such inventive ways, like wrapping it round her arm and then going in for the bank statement. And just a lot of stuff. Then there was one point when Sasha was using it too much and Bianca was able to counter her, like pull her into the post. It was just Oh, it was such a good match. It was amazing. Then the hair whip at the end was the worst thing I've ever seen or heard. It sounded horrible. I just picked up the one with KOD. I would have liked if she'd have then just got up and hit a shooting star to flex on Brock Lesnar. But honestly, man, I think that will go down as one of the better WrestleMania matches ever. And it was a perfect way to cap off night one. Bianca's mum, dad, and I think her brother were like at ringside. And her dad freaked out and like tried to jump over nearly jumped over the barrier, and the security guard had to like hold him back. But it was just so good. It was such a perfect end to a really good night of wrestling. I think overall, WrestleMania 37 night one was amazing. Was really, really good. It was so good to see fans back in attendance. Now obviously, there was no social distancing going on in that lower bowl. People were breaking their seating bubbles. It looked very close, very tight, which is not going to be fun after this. I know there's a contract that said you can't sue WWE if you catch COVID at WrestleMania, that you had to sign like a release to attend. But you should have the seating bubbles, which I saw they had in the upper bowl, with like the cardboard fans in between. But you should have that down there. You should have security guards like always watching, and $100 fine issued if you leave your bubble, if you break social distancing, if you're out with your bubble. You should be fined for it. There should have been consequences put in place to keep people in their place on that lower bowl. Obviously that wasn't great, but I think seeing fans back in, hearing fans back in was amazing. I think, like I say, it was a very good night of the entertainment side of wrestling, mixed with the work rate side of wrestling. It was a perfect show to come back to, and I really can't wait for tonight. So yeah, that's it for this video. Less structured, more chatty sort of review. Reviews will be a little bit less on the channel for now. They'll probably come back at some point, but for now I'm just, I've got a lot of stuff on my plate, and I can't really focus a lot of my time and my attention and efforts to that right now. But they will be back eventually. But I want to focus more on interviewee content and, the occasional video like this, just waffle into camera. So thanks so much for watching. I have another video coming out later on, part 2 of the How Good Bumper 2 Night of WrestleMania special. So that'll be a lot of fun. That's coming out later on today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you later on tonight, and thanks for watching.